I lived with my son and wife for 14 years, only to find out that he wasn't my real son. My wife leaves me and takes him away from me, because now my son's biological dad is rich and they can be a happy family together. They portray me as a bad father, but my son says something in court which reveals shocking truth. I never thought I'd be writing a post like this. My whole world has been turned upside down, and I'm struggling to make sense of it all. I guess I should start from the beginning. I'm a 35-year-old man, and until yesterday I thought I had a pretty good life. I've been married to Rebecca for 14 years, and we have a son, Adam, who's 14 years old. We got married when Rebecca found out she was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but I was happy to step up and be a father. From the moment Adam was born, I loved him with all my heart. I was there for his first steps, his first words, and every milestone since. I worked 2 jobs to make sure we had enough money to give him a good life. It wasn't always easy, but I never complained. That's what fathers do, right? I always tried to be the best dad I could be. I helped Adam with his homework, taught him how to ride a bike, and went to all his soccer games. We had our father-son camping trips every summer, just the 2 of us. Those were some of the best times of my life. I wasn't perfect, but I always put my family first. I made sure Adam had everything he needed for school, even if it meant I had to skip lunch at work sometimes. I saved up for months to buy him the latest gaming console for his birthday last year. The look on his face when he opened it was worth every extra shift I worked. Rebecca and I had our ups and downs, like any couple, but I thought we were happy. We celebrated our 14th wedding anniversary last month with a nice dinner at home. Adam even made us a card. It's still on our fridge, or at least it was. Yesterday started like any other day. I went to my first job in the morning, then my second job in the afternoon. I was looking forward to getting home and having dinner with my family. But when I walked through the door, something felt off. The house was too quiet. Usually Adam would be watching TV or playing video games, and Rebecca would be in the kitchen. But there was nothing. No sounds, no smells of dinner cooking. Just silence. I called out for them, but there was no answer. I checked Adam's room, thinking maybe he was wearing headphones and didn't hear me, but his room was empty. Some of his clothes and his favorite books were missing. My heart started racing as I went to our bedroom. That's when I saw the note on the bedside table. It was in Rebecca's handwriting. My hands were shaking as I picked it up and started reading. The contents of that note have been playing on repeat in my mind ever since. Rebecca wrote that she and Adam were leaving me, but that wasn't even the worst part. She revealed that I'm not Adam's biological father. According to the note, Rebecca had a brief relationship with another man just before we got together. When she found out she was pregnant, she assumed it was mine. She said she convinced herself it was true because she wanted it to be true. But now, 14 years later, Adam's biological father had come back into the picture. Rebecca wrote that he wanted to be a part of their lives, and she had decided to give him that chance. She said Adam deserved to know his real father. I felt like I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. I sat down on the bed, trying to process what I'd just read. How could this be happening? How could Rebecca do this to me? To us? I kept reading the note, hoping for some explanation that would make sense of all this. Rebecca wrote that she was sorry for lying all these years. She said she knew it was wrong, but she was scared of losing me and scared of being a single mother. She claimed that Adam's biological father was successful and could give them a better life. She wrote that Adam was excited about meeting his real dad and starting a new life. That part hurt more than anything else. I've spent the last 14 hours trying to wrap my head around all of this. I've gone through every emotion imaginable: shock, anger, sadness, betrayal. I've cried more in the last day than I have in my entire life. I keep thinking about all the moments I've shared with Adam, teaching him how to tie his shoelaces, staying up all night when he had the flu, cheering from the sidelines at his soccer games. Were all those moments a lie? I can't stop wondering if Adam ever suspected anything. Did he ever feel like I wasn't his real dad? Did Rebecca ever hint at it? I thought we had a great relationship, but now I'm questioning everything. I've tried calling and texting both Rebecca and Adam, but their phones are turned off. I even drove by Rebecca's parents' house, thinking they might be there, but there was no sign of them. I feel like my whole life has been a lie. For 14 years, I've poured my heart and soul into being a husband and father. I've worked myself to the bone to provide for my family, and now, in the blink of an eye, it's all gone. I don't know what to do now. The house feels so empty without them. I've taken a few days off work because I can't concentrate on anything. I keep hoping this is all just a bad dream and I'll wake up to find them here. Part of me wants to fight for my family. Adam may not be my biological son, but I've raised him for 14 years. Doesn't that count for something? But then I think about Rebecca's betrayal, and I don't know if I could ever trust her again. I've thought about hiring a lawyer, but I don't even know where to start. Do I have any rights as Adam's non-biological father? Can Rebecca just take him away like this? I feel so lost and overwhelmed. I've also considered trying to find them, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do. If Adam really wants to be with his biological father, do I have the right to interfere? The thought of never seeing him again is killing me, but I also want him to be happy. I'm angry at Rebecca for lying to me all these years. I'm hurt that she could just leave like this, without even giving me a chance to talk about it. But mostly, I'm heartbroken about Adam. He's my son. Biology be damned. I've loved him and raised him for 14 years. How can that just be erased? I've thought about reaching out to Rebecca's family or our mutual friends, but I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I feel like a fool for not knowing the truth all these years. And what if they all knew and kept it from me? I don't think I could handle that betrayal on top of everything else. There's a part of me that's angry at Adam's biological father, too. Where was he for the past 14 years? Why did he decide to come back now? Did he know about Adam all along? I have so many questions, but no way to get answers. I'm scared for Adam, too. He's leaving everything he knows, his school, his friends, his home. Is this really what's best for him? And what about this man, his biological father? What kind of person is he? Will he love and care for Adam the way I have? The house feels so empty without them. I haven't been able to bring myself to go into Adam's room. His soccer trophies are still on the shelf, his dirty laundry still in the hamper. It's like they left in a hurry, leaving pieces of their lives behind. I'm writing this post because I don't know where else to turn. Has anyone else been through something like this? How did you cope? Is there any hope for me to have a relationship with Adam in the future? Thank you for reading this. It helps a little just to get it all out, even if it's to strangers on the internet. I never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am. I guess life can change in an instant, and you never see it coming. Update. It's been a few months since my last post, and I wanted to update you all on what's happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their support during what has been the most challenging time of my life. Your kind words and advice meant more than you know. Shortly after my initial post, I received divorce papers from Rebecca. Even though I knew it was coming, seeing it in black and white was a shock. It made everything feel so final, so real. After the initial numbness wore off, I realized I needed to fight for my rights as Adam's father. I couldn't just let them take him away without a fight. I decided to hire a lawyer. It wasn't easy financially, especially with Rebecca and Adam gone, but I knew I had to do it. I found a decent attorney who was willing to work with me on the payments. He warned me from the start that it would be an uphill battle, given that I'm not Adam's biological father, but I was determined to try. The legal process was brutal, even more than I expected. Rebecca and Adam's biological father, who I learned is named David, seemed to have unlimited resources. David is apparently quite wealthy, which made things even more difficult for me. They hired a high-powered attorney, and it quickly became clear that they were going to play dirty. In court, Rebecca and David painted a picture of me as a neglectful father who couldn't provide for Adam. They brought up how I worked 2 jobs, twisting it to make it seem like I was never around. They talked about how David could give Adam a better life, with private schools and expensive vacations. They even had witnesses, friends of theirs who claimed they'd seen me ignore Adam or speak harshly to him. I felt like I was in a nightmare. Everything I'd done out of love for my family was being used against me. Working 2 jobs to provide for them was turned into neglect. The camping trips Adam and I loved were dismissed as cheap vacations. It seemed like they had an answer for everything, and I was starting to lose hope. My lawyer did his best, but we were outgunned at every turn. David's money seemed to make all the difference. He had expert witnesses talking about the importance of biological connections. They had child psychologists testifying about how Adam would be better off in a more stable financial situation. It felt like they had thought of everything. I started to prepare myself for the worst, that I might lose Adam forever. The thought of never seeing him again, of someone else raising him and being called Dad, was almost unbearable. There were nights when I couldn't sleep, just lying awake and thinking about all the moments I might miss. But then, something unexpected happened. The judge decided he wanted to hear from Adam himself. I was terrified. What if Rebecca and David had turned him against me? What if he said he wanted to live with them? I didn't know if I could handle hearing Adam say he didn't want me anymore. When Adam took the stand, I could barely breathe. But what happened next changed everything. Adam looked straight at the judge and said, "I want to live with my dad, my real dad, the one who raised me." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Adam went on to say that I was a great father, that he loved our camping trips and how I always made time to help him with his homework, even when I was tired from work. He talked about how I never missed a soccer game, how I taught him to ride a bike, and how I always made him feel loved and supported. But then Adam dropped a bombshell. He told the court that his mom and David had been trying to coach him on what to say. He said he'd overheard them late at night, planning how to make me look bad. They had told him to say I was neglectful, that I didn't care about his education, that I was always angry and tired. Adam said he couldn't go through with it. He said he knew it wasn't true, and he couldn't lie about the person who had been there for him his whole life. He even mentioned specific conversations he'd overheard, where Rebecca and David discussed ways to manipulate the evidence and testimonies against me. The courtroom was silent. I could see the shock on Rebecca and David's faces. The judge listened intently, asking Adam several questions to clarify what he'd heard and experienced. Adam told the judge about a conversation he'd overheard where David suggested they could pay off some of my coworkers to testify that I often complained about Adam or seemed uninterested in his life. He said Rebecca had been hesitant at first, but David convinced her it was necessary to ensure they won. He also mentioned overhearing them discuss how to coach Adam's teachers to say I never showed up for parent-teacher conferences, which wasn't true. I'd always made time for those, even if it meant taking time off work. Adam said he felt scared and confused by all of this, and that he missed me and our life together. After Adam's testimony, the whole tone of the proceedings changed. The judge ordered an investigation into Rebecca and David's actions, including their attempts to manipulate a minor's testimony. Their lawyer looked nervous, and I could see Rebecca and David whispering frantically to each other. The judge took a few days to review all the evidence and Adam's testimony. Those were some of the longest days of my life. I was hopeful after hearing Adam, but I was also scared too. Let myself believe things might work out. Finally, the day came for the judge to make his decision. I was a nervous wreck as we all assembled in the courtroom. The judge started by saying that he had carefully considered all the evidence presented, as well as Adam's testimony. He said that while financial stability is important, it's not the only factor in determining a child's best interests. He pointed out that I had consistently provided for Adam's needs, even if it meant working 2 jobs. He praised my dedication to Adam's education and extracurricular activities, noting that I had always made time for what was important in Adam's life. The judge also expressed serious concern about Rebecca and David's attempts to manipulate the case and coach Adam's testimony. He said this showed a disregard for Adam's emotional well-being and raised questions about their fitness as parents. In the end, the judge made his decision. He granted me full custody of Adam. He said that it was clear that I had been a loving and devoted father, and that Adam's wishes and well-being were the most important factors. He stated that the bond between a parent and child is not solely determined by biology, but by years of love, care, and dedication. As for the divorce, it was granted. After everything that had happened, I had no desire to remain married to Rebecca. The judge also ordered Rebecca and David to pay my legal fees, given their attempts to manipulate the case. I can't describe the relief and joy I felt when the judge announced his decision. Adam ran to hug me, and I couldn't hold back my tears. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. The past few weeks have been about adjusting to our new normal. Adam and I are living in our old house. It's been tough financially, but we're making it work. I've had to cut back on some expenses, but Adam understands. He even offered to get a part-time job to help out, but I told him to focus on school and being a kid. Adam has been amazing through all of this. He's in therapy to help him process everything that's happened, and I'm so proud of how mature and strong he's been. We've had some long talks about family, trust, and what it means to be a father. It hasn't always been easy, but I think we're both growing from this experience. Rebecca and David have visitation rights, but Adam has made it clear he doesn't want to see them right now. I'm letting him take the lead on that. I don't want to force him into any situation he's not comfortable with. The therapist has suggested we take it slow and maybe start with supervised visits when Adam feels ready. As for me, I'm also in therapy, trying to work through the betrayal and the stress of the past few months. It's not easy, but I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm learning to trust again, to believe that good things can happen even when everything seems dark. I've had to make some changes at work. I explained the situation to my bosses, and they've been understanding. I've cut back on some hours so I can be home more for Adam. It means things are tighter financially, but being there for Adam is worth it. We're slowly finding our new rhythm. Adam and I cook dinner together most nights now. We're both pretty terrible at it, but we're learning and laughing a lot in the process. We've started having a weekly movie night, and we're working our way through all the classic films I loved as a kid. I want to thank everyone who offered support and advice on my original post. There were times when your kind words were the only thing keeping me going. To anyone else going through something similar, don't give up. The truth has a way of coming out. Adam and I are looking forward to the future. We're planning a camping trip for this summer, just the two of us, like old times. We're both excited about it, a chance to reconnect and make new memories. There are still challenges ahead. I know there will be tough days, days when the hurt and anger come rushing back. But I also know that Adam and I can face anything together. No matter what happens, we'll always have each other. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you know. Here's to new beginnings and the family we choose.